afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode 183 of Mcrae Live. The date today is Friday, June the 25th, 2021, 12:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. Well, you've had 24 hours to think about it. You've had 24 hours to mull it over. You've had 24 hours to digest it. You've had 24, well, no, not, what am I saying? Not even 24 hours. You've had 16 hours, about 16 hours. So yeah, I did an episode of Mcrae Live yesterday morning, of course, and then I did somewhat of an expected one. It was unexpected, but it was somewhat expected. I was prepared for it to go live last night, and I did, and I did a breakdown of the Halloween Kills trailer. Obviously, it came out yesterday because Universal had to get ahead of the game. It was getting leaked, and the leaks were being taken down, but they were still popping up. And once, you know, a leak is like a virus, right? And, you know, you can sort of kill, you know, certain areas, but then they're going to pop up in other places too. And sometimes when a leak gets out there, sometimes it can be tough to keep up, no matter how many, you know, of the videos get taken down. So it's unfortunate. And I was talking to a couple of people this morning about how unfortunate it was, because I was really, and I don't know if they were for sure going to do this, but when you look at the history and the pattern of what the likes of Ryan Turek, Jason Blum, you know, what they've done, certainly with Halloween 18, and even with the trailer for the first trailer for Halloween Kills. This, funny enough, is the second one. There was a 30-second one back last Halloween. The thing that disappoints me is that I would imagine that, you know, starting maybe this weekend or certainly at the top of next week, they would start that hype train, right? You know, you'd see, you know, you might even see like a little, I don't know, but I do know that, or I suspect and I assume that there would be some sort of hype, you know what I mean? Some sort of countdown, you know, which would have been a lot of fun, because they've done that in the past. And, you know, because of the leaks, it just was, you know, it just was dropped. You know, okay, oh fuck, okay, here. You know, it's like, oh, you know, and I know there's a lot of people that are happy about it, but I'm a little disappointed, you know, because I was really looking forward to next week's, you know, kind of hype train, you know, and getting ready for it. But nonetheless, it's out there now. It's out there now, and people have watched it, and I've watched it. Although I didn't watch it. Did I watch it again after I got off the show yesterday? I don't know. But I gave my thoughts on it yesterday, and the video's on my channel. It has over 10,000 views already in like 16 hours. That's insane. Folks, last night on the stream, we had over 1,000 people watching. Now, I mean, if you are a gigantic channel, that could, you know, and you average 10,000 viewers a show, that might be really small, but I average, according to my analytics, depending on what I'm talking about, of course, I usually average between about 120 and 160 people watching live. And sometimes I'll go to over 200 if it's Halloween, or 250. The highest I ever had was, I hit over 500 twice, I believe. Once was when the very first images for Halloween 18 dropped in April or May, April, I think it was, of 2018. Bruce was over. It's probably still on my channel. And the first images dropped, like of him in the closet and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, Bruce, dude, I got to get on my fucking thing. He's like, okay, let's do it. And he came on. And I think that might have been one of the first times you guys were introduced to him. And we hit over 500 for that. And that was like, wow, holy shit. You know what I mean? And then there was another one I hit over 500. I think I might even got close to 600. I beat out the previous one by like a smidgy, a little bit. That means, you know, smidgy, tiny bit, but I still beat it. And I think it was when I again, obviously another live show where I was talking about maybe some of the behind the scenes of Halloween Kills. Maybe it was in the fall of 2019 or something like that. And that was like a lot, right? But last night we peaked at 1,088. We peaked at Frank, really helped Dave that your pants were down. That's true. That is a good point. I mean, that I would be remiss if I didn't say that I was naked below the belt. I mean, that absolutely helps. Uh, but we peaked, according to my analytics of the show last night, we peaked at 1,088. So we were able to reach 1,088 viewers. So nearly 1,100 people watching live. That's the most I've ever had. That shatters my previous record by like double. I mean, by like 500 or more. So that's really cool, guys. And I just want to thank everybody who tuned in last night. Obviously, obviously it's not just because of me. It's Halloween Kills trailer. You know what I mean? I understand. I get why people were tuning in, but it's still really cool. It's still really cool. And so I just want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in last night. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're new and you're tuning in now, or if you're watching after the fact, stick around and, hopefully you'll enjoy the channel. I'm sure that there were some people that were watching last night. I mean, with 1,088 people watching, I'm pretty sure there was a few that were like, who the fuck's this guy? Holy shit, this guy never shuts up. This guy just never shuts up. He never fucking shuts up. Anyway. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So something I did not talk about last night because I was so focused on the trailer and giving my first impression thoughts was, of course, the official poster that dropped. Now, some people did reach out to me and say, do you think they're going to drop the official poster on the same day that the trailer was going to release? And of course, this was originally the 1st of July. And I did not know. I did not get any info about the poster, but I suspected, and I've made it very clear, that would be a high probability at this point in the game, this late in the game. It would be strange to drop the trailer and then drop a poster for it, 6 weeks later. I mean, you could do that, I guess, but I mean, I that would be a little back to front to normally what they do, and how that usually works. So I was not surprised that the poster dropped the same day as the trailer. I've mentioned that was a likelihood here on the channel, and it did. But I didn't see it till late last night after I got off the stream here. So I didn't. I'm getting little dings. I didn't talk about it. So I wanted to bring it up and talk about it on today's show and give you my thoughts on it. And I want you guys in the comment section below to let me know what you thought of the poster. There's been a lot of great fan-made posters out there. There's also been a lot of pretty shitty fan-made posters. That definitely looks like somebody's in their first day of Photoshop. You know what I mean? And then there's some that you look at, you're like, wow, that's really fucking good. Like that could fool somebody. And this is because, people have to understand that one of the reasons why fan-made posters are looking so good and not looking like fan-made anymore is because, years and years ago, nobody had home computers with the tools and the graphic design capabilities to be able to dish out a Hollywood-level style poster. But that's changed, right? I mean, everybody's got Photoshop at their fingertips, and everybody's got After Effects at their fingertips. That's more for, film. But I just mean the ability to create professional Hollywood-level stuff, is now you can do from your home. I mean, It's Me, Billy was edited here in my home studio. Now, it's a professional home studio, obviously, because of what I do for a living, but I'm doing it from home. You know what I mean? And so, it's amazing. Like, I envy kids today, man, of, what you have. I mean, we used to shoot our home movies on VHS and edit VCR to VCR, or sometimes we'd have to edit in camera and all that kind of shit, right? You know what I mean? Anyway. That's a whole other tangent. But it doesn't surprise me because, there are, the people that are creating the real Hollywood posters are using the same tools that these people who are creating the fan-made posters are using, right? So, I mean, it's not like there's some weird, obscure program or button that they're doing that nobody knows it. No, it's the same shit. It just depends on how proficient and good you are. How good of a designer are you, right? You know what I mean? So, but anyway, so the official poster has dropped, and let's take a look at it, and I'll give you my thoughts. Where is it here? Oh, Lordy, where did I put it? Oh, is it on the other page? Oh, it is totally on the other screen. Let me go to the other screen. There we are. There it is, the official poster for Halloween Kills. Now, what I immediately noticed about this was not the fire, not the mask, not the looking a little crispy, Mikey. It's my best Freddy from, I think that's his name, right? Buster Rhymes. But anyway, he's, what I noticed immediately was the poetry on the poster. Now, I don't mean there's a poem on the poster. I mean the symmetry or the mirroring effect, the mirroring effect of this poster. The Halloween 2018 poster was the opposite, right? The mask was on the other side of the screen. Well, yeah, I guess of the screen. The other side of the poster, looking down. Right? And now we have this poster. He's on the opposite side of the poster, looking sort of in a similar angle. I think the 18 poster was a little more down, but he's looking similar angle, right? That's the first thing I noticed was the poetry, the mirroring effect of the two images. Then, of course, I focused in on the fire in the background and the colors and the ambers kind of floating there in the background. And then I focused in on his mask and seeing, of course, you see a bit of the charredness in his mask there and on his lip and all that kind of stuff. It's a great poster. I really appreciate the simplicity of what they're doing for these posters. I would imagine, now it's far too early to tell. They haven't even shot the movie yet. But I would imagine that there's a story that's also being told in the marketing, right? I talked a bit about that last night in terms of the trailer. What's the narrative the trailer is talking about? With this, it would not surprise me if the Halloween Ends poster, which is still, well, I know, I guess I was about to say it's still a couple of years away, but no, we'll be getting it next year if things remain in place. So let's say this time next year when we have the Halloween Ends poster, I would, or maybe even sooner, I would imagine that you're going to see the poetry complete, if you know what I mean. So you're going to see the story that's being told in the three images complete. So you have a story that's being told in the first poster. You have one that's being told here that's mirroring, that's that's a weird word, from the other one, right? And there's a story that's being told here. And then the third poster will probably bring it all together. Still simple. I still think it's going to be simple, but I think it's going to bring it all together. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the overall bigger picture and the arc. That's what I think they're going to do. Maybe they won't do that, but I appreciate this. That's what I would try to do. Because you're telling a story in the three images, and then it would look really cool when you put the three images side by side, on a wall, right? Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. And then, you look at the images and you're like, oh yeah, like I can kind of see a mini sort of story being told there, right? I hope they do that. So I like the poster a lot. I like the simplicity of it. I like the colors, the way they pop. I like how the first poster, again, was that white and black and very sort of, and this is very hot and orangey and red. And of course, you have the colors of Halloween as well, right? Orange and black. Those are the colors of Halloween. So you have that in here too. There are no other colors but orange and black. I mean, in terms of the design of the poster, the artist might have used shading, and there probably is there's different levels of black, right? There's different levels of black as there is orange. But it looks, the illusion is done very well. I mean, it looks, it's black and orange. So that I like too, right? Very symbolic of Halloween. It's a simple poster. I mean, what more is there to say, right? I know I am the king of talking about the most simplest thing and in the most epic ways and talking about it for like 90 minutes. But at the end of the day, those were my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. It's a solid poster. Looks good. I like it. I think it would look good beside the 18 poster. Can't wait to get my hands on this and put it up. I think it looks good. I love the design. I love the attention to detail on the mask there, where you see sort of the shading and that we see sort of the melting points of the latex. Now, obviously that, it's designed that way, right? This is a different mask than what was used in the original, in the first one a couple years ago, but they did a good job. Now, whether this was Christopher Nelson directly that had his hands, he was specifically doing this, because he does have a team that he works with. Nonetheless, shout out to Christopher Nelson. You and your team again, whether it was you specifically or a bit of you or you and Bob or, you, John, and Bob, or, whoever it was, you and your team have done another tremendous job. It looks great. But would we expect anything less? Of course not. I mean, he's an Academy Award-winning special effects makeup artist, and he does a tremendous work. So this looks good as expected. But I love those little melting points, like those little sort of wrinkles in the latex where it just got a little too hot, just a little too hot. Just a little too hot. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I like it. Comment below. If you're watching after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts on the you can let me know your thoughts on the trailer too if you want, but let me know your thoughts on the poster. I would love to know your thoughts on the poster. I'm digging it. Let's go over to the chat room and see what you guys are talking about. I know a couple of super chats did come in. I saw them. Am I going to be able to access them? No, probably not. Let me go to the other screen here for a second. Maybe I can access them here. So did just two? I think just two came in, if I'm not mistaken. Gavin Glass. I like that name. Gavin Glass sends in $4.99, says, Halloween Kills will be the Empire Strikes Back of this new trilogy. Myers will be on top at the end and evil wins. Can't wait. Yeah, we've talked about that here on the channel. That's because of the 3-act structure. This is being designed as a 3-act play, right? So it's one story being told over 3 films. So, when you are telling a 3-act structure, generally, it doesn't mean you can't take creative liberties like Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi, but we know how that turned out. The second act of a 3-act play is generally your darkest. And it doesn't bode well for the protagonists. The antagonists usually come out on top at the end. And then your third act is the resolution, right? And usually in the second act, people die. Usually in the second act, we find more about, we usually find more about, the human side of what is making our protagonists tick and the struggles they face, the resistance that they're facing. They are tested, essentially. They are tested. In the second act, your protagonists are always tested, at least they should be. And then they struggle in that test, as we saw with Luke on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back, right? I don't believe it. That is why you failed. That is why you failed. First of all, I was like, what voice was I doing there? That wasn't Yoda. And we see that. We see that resistance and that struggle. So the second act, and this is long before films. I mean, this goes back to, Shakespeare. I mean, the second act is usually the darkest. That's where things are, the fuck's going on? And all hope is lost. And the audience is on the edge of their seats going, no, right? And then your third act is the resolution. It's poetry. It's predictable, but if they're very good stories, you know how it's going to end, but you enjoy the journey. You live vicariously through those characters and you enjoy the journey. So, yes, I agree with you. I have no doubt that it has been structured that way. Daniel Hyrell sends in $4.99, says, Dave, thanks for always being honest and supportive of the horror community over the years. God bless my brother. Same to you, Daniel. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. Alex Shambach. I think I'm saying it. I always am worried I'm not quite saying it right. But anyway, $4.99. Thank you, buddy. Says, how can Ends play off HK in the same night? Will it be a year later? Kill seems to be so packed. Curious how it would flow into this trilogy. That's a great question, Alec. And I'll say this, that I knew very early on that this was going to be, that this whole thing takes place in one night. Now, again, can that change? Well, sure, I guess it could. You just have to write it differently. But it makes sense to have these 3 movies happen in one night, because if you separate it, if you fast forward a year later to the next Halloween, then you have to justify again where Michael is. Does he disappear and walk off into the ether not to be seen for a year? Okay. Why? What's the circumstances that lead to him just leaving? Or is he caught again? Do we want to see him caught again, only to escape again. I mean, that seems a little redundant, and why do that? So why not structure the film over one night? And you can do that. I mean, listen, we know time in movies, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, right? Time in movies isn't, there's real time and then there's movie time, right? And sometimes movie time is real time, and sometimes real time can feel like movie time. But I think you know what I'm getting at, right? So, let's say, and let's be clear that I think it's important that Halloween fans understand that, just because it crosses the threshold of midnight and technically might be November 1st now, that's still Halloween night. Do you know what I mean? I would like to think that we all can agree it's the same night, right? And that, Halloween night is over at the break of dawn, at like 6:30 in the morning or something like that. So it's entirely possible that Halloween 18 happens and ends at 10:30 at night or something, and Halloween Kills takes place between 10:30 and 2 o'clock in the morning, and then Halloween Ends is 2 to 6. I mean, it might not feel like that. It might feel like, well, that seems kind of, but I mean, you're probably Halloween Kills is going to be set up where you're probably watching 4 hours of shit taking place, right? Here's the first film was at night was the first 4 hours. Here's the next 4 hours. And then here's the last 4 hours. You know what I mean? It's probably going to feel something like that. I mean, you can do a lot in 4 hours. I mean, if you think about it, think about real time. Think about all the shit you could do. Think about back when you were a kid and you were playing with your friends, or you were out with your friends on your bike or whatever, and you had 4 hours. Fucking, you could ride all over the place, get into all sorts of shit and shenanigans, and go to the convenience store and buy, 5-cent candies, and fucking go over to your buddy's place, play some video games. I mean, 4 hours is a lot. It's not a lot, but time is relative, right? It all depends on what's going on. So, yes, as far as I know, that has not changed. The plan is Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends is all one night. And I suspect, to make it feel believable, to give breathing room to that narrative, to make it feel plausible, I would assume that Halloween Ends will end at the break of dawn, right? And then there's cinematic language there as well. It's very symbolic in a way, because you also are able to, it's the break of dawn. And what does morning symbolize? Morning symbolizes rebirth. Morning symbolizes, starting over, starting again, a new day, right? A new day. We see things like that. We feel things like that. So it makes sense to me that at least I would suggest, if they haven't already, you end the movie, however you're going to end it. I don't know how that's going to be yet. But the final moments of the movie should be as dawn is breaking, right? It's cinematic language. It's symbolic. It's symbolism. And I think that's cool. I would suspect that they're smart enough to know that would be something that would be cool to do, so yeah, and it's October, right? It's October 31st. So it doesn't get in the Midwest. Dawn wouldn't be till like 7:30 in the morning. Or 7 o'clock in the morning at that time, right? Because we're into the fall now. I mean, in the summertime, it gets light here at like 5:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? But in the fall, the sun doesn't start coming up until after 7. Sometimes, depending even, like if you're well into the fall, like if you're into December, it's like closer to 8. I mean, it's insane, right? So there's time. There's time there, sure. I said, there's time there for sure, I mean. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Frank Riker sends in $5. My man, Frank. Dave, look above the double L's in Halloween. Do you see a girl screaming in the fire smoke? Ooh, Frank, you little son of a bitch. Let me look at this here. Admittedly, I haven't looked at it that closely. Let me just bring it up. I'm not going to bring it up on the screen for you guys. I'm just going to bring it up on my screen over here. I'm going to move it in front of me. The double L. Oh, I see what you're looking at. Zooming it up on my screen. I see what you're looking at, Frank, but I think it's just circumstance. It's just the way it was designed. Yeah, I feel confident in just saying that. I think it's too nuanced. I see what you're saying. I see the 3 shadow points, and I see what you're looking at, and I can see kind of but no. I'm going to say no. But, it's a nice you know, happy accident if that's the case. Where are you guys? There you are. Thank you, Frank. Oh, my light just went out again. I didn't charge it. I only had a little bit of juice left into it. Mendel Goodman sends in $5, says, do you think there's going to be another AC/DC album? And do you think AC/DC is doing concerts on their last album? AC/DC will continue to fucking rock and roll until Angus Young says no. Until Angus Young fucking just like calls it quits or dies. So AC/DC will live on. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do another album. They usually do albums once every 5 or 6 years. So you got till like 2026 or 7 before you can, you know, there's not going to be any like one anytime soon. And do I think they'll do concerts? I hope so. I hope so. I saw them back in 2001 on their Stiff Upper Lip tour, but I haven't seen them since, and I'd love to see them again just because it is kind of getting to that point where they're probably not going to be, you know, and I want to see them one more time, you know? So fingers crossed. But if you do see another album, you still got like 5 or 6 years because that just seems to be their pattern, at least their pattern over the last 20 years. Like back in the 80s, they had like, I think they had like 7 albums in the 80s or something like that. But ever since well, yeah, the Razor's Edge was what, 91? And Ball Breaker was 95. And then Stiff Upper Lip was 2001. So so ever since Ball Breaker, it's been like a consistent 6 years kind of thing. So we'll see. Joe Smidgen? I don't know how anyway, Joe, my man, sends in $5, says, have you noticed that in this trailer, some of your sequel concept story was used? I had somebody reach out to me and, Frank is saying Craig Phillips didn't get his super chat. Thank you, Frank. I will look for Craig in a moment. Craig, I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. Yeah, a few people have reached out to me and said that. Look, I don't believe they have. Okay. It's one of the reasons why on my sequel concept idea video, I think it would be, like at this point, I think it would be very arrogant to be like, oh, hey, here's my idea. I mean, you know, that's why at the beginning of the sequel concept 2 years ago, I said, if anything in the eventual film is very similar to what I have here, it's just coincidence. And the reason for that, I said, is because there's only so many ways you can roll out this narrative that makes sense with what comes before. I mean, you can do anything you want. You can have dancing clowns all of a sudden show up at the house and Michael kills a bunch of dancing clowns and then fucking, you know, Freddy Krueger comes out of the trees. And like you could do whatever you want. But in terms of what's plausible, I know the chat room's going to love that. That actually might be scarier than Michael Myers. I'm just telling you. But what's plausible? Like, what is the natural, organic progression here? Okay, well, firefighters are probably going to show up, right? You know, they're probably going to get killed. You know, they're probably going to be a lot of body. Like, I mean, you know, and so I just tapped into that and gave my own version of it. And then they tapped into that and gave their own version of it. So you're seeing similarities, but I don't, like, there's a few similarities in some of the shots I saw. I agree. That didn't cross my mind until somebody pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. But it's too vague. It's not like, I mean, you know, if Barker was stabbed through the chest during a thunderstorm in the woods just off behind the house, and he was lifted up and he was only illuminated in the bright flashes of the lightning as rain is teeming down, then I'd be like, that's a little strange. I have that exact thing in my concept 2 years ago. Then I'd be like, that's kind of funky. That's kind of funky. Do you know what I mean? But a firefighter sticking the Halligan into or Michael impaling the firefighter with the Halligan and lifting him up, you know, I mean, no, I don't think it at all. But it's cool that some people think of my concept idea when they watch that. Goes to show you how impactful it was for some, at the very least. So I appreciate that. But no, I don't see the similarities, if there are any, are not similar enough. Okay, so let me go back. Let me try and get, hang on. I don't know what happened there, but I can't be the only one that is dealing with YouTube showing super chats and then super chats disappearing. Not disappearing completely, folks. I'm not saying don't send them in. I mean, just from the list. And then on the actual stream. And then I actually have to go into my YouTube studio and access it because that's where I'll see it. And it's like, why does it just disappear? What the fuck, YouTube? Now, I'm not seeing that super chat. Oh, no. I see it now. Thank you very much, Frank. I shouldn't have doubted you, Frank. $5 from Craig Phillips says, hey, Dave, I know who leaked the trailer. It was Tony Moran. It might have been. It might have been Tony Moran. It might have been. You may be right, as they say. You may be right. It might have been Tony Moran. That's funny. Okay. And then Jordan Ellis sends in $2.99. Thank you, Jordan. Says, love how the poster mirrors the 2018 poster. I could not agree. I was just talking about that. Ray Farmentino. Sorry, Ryan Farmentino. Thanks, buddy, for the $4.99. I don't have my glasses. My glasses they're here somewhere. Hey, Dave, any idea when we'll be able to buy the poster? Buy the Halloween Kills poster? I have no idea. I really have no idea. Probably not. Well, it'll be. It might. Yeah, it could be online before the film drops. Actually, that would be a good idea. Yes, I think it will be. I don't know when though. Maybe this September. I don't know. We'll see. Good question. Nathan Oswald sends in $5, says, poster looks great. Trailer was decent. Still looking forward to HK, but I won't have high expectations. There are a lot of people out there that thought that said that, they showed too much. And like I've said before on this channel, you have to keep in mind, and shout out to Cecil Laird. I don't know if he's watching, but he just made a post on his page, which was great. He was showing some receipts. And I always love when people show receipts because if you can, of course. He was showing, I said this because I remember reading an article about this, and maybe this was sort of tied into what Blum was saying, but I remember Jason Blum, and he's not wrong, saying that, statistically, when we show a lot in our trailers, more people show up to the movies, and I remember hearing him talking about that. And he gets it. I mean, listen, he's a producer. He's a filmmaker. He works in Hollywood. He understands. He can intellectualize. He might even empathize. He might even sympathize. He might even agree with you. Like, yeah, I wish we didn't have to show this much. Do you know what I mean? But Cecil made a post earlier today where he showed a tweet from Blum last year or the year before, where he was talking about how another reason why they have to do it is because they're competing with Netflix. And Netflix shows a shit ton of stuff, and we have to be able to compete. We have to be able to get asses out of their homes and into the movie theaters. So we have to show them cool shit, all sorts of cool shit, to get their asses into the theaters. Now remember, you and I will go see a fucking Halloween film if there even wasn't a trailer. If a trailer didn't exist and it was just that fucking poster, we'd be there opening night. But we're not the ones they're worried about. We are already locked and loaded. We are signed, sealed, and delivered. They've got us. They know that. It's the general movie-going audience. It's the casual fan. It's the fan that didn't even know the fucking trailer dropped last night. It's the fan that doesn't even know there's a fucking new poster, right? Or the casual fan, or the horror fan that's more Freddy and Jason, not really Michael, right? They got to get those people in there. We know that there are a bunch of horror fans that are Team Freddy, Team Jason, don't give a fuck about Michael. Well, they want them too. We want, get your, look. And the Jason fans are going to be going, oh yeah, he kind of looks like Jason. This will be fun. They want to get those people in there. You know what I mean? So, maybe it's not quite like that, but it's, there are specific reasons why they're doing it. It's not, I agree with you. And I've always said this, I wish we weren't in a world where we had to show all that kind of stuff. And people often said to me, well, you didn't show anything for It's Me, Billy. It's like, yeah, but I can't monetize. It's Me, Billy is a short independent film that can't be monetized, that can't be commercialized. And I don't have a studio breathing down my neck. Like, I can't sell it to Amazon or to Netflix or anything like that because we don't own the IP. So we can do whatever we want in our trailers, right? You know what I mean? So I appreciate the compliment, but it's a bit different. But I understand the principle of what they're talking about, right? Is that they said that our trailer was an example of not showing a lot and still so much in the movie. I wish Hollywood could do that too. And I think, look, there are definitely people in high positions in Hollywood that wish they could do it too, but this is a business. And it's not us they're worried about. Like I said, you and I will go see it just on the announcement. There could not be a trailer. There could not be a poster. There could not be a picture of the mask. There could just be the announcement. Halloween Kills, October 15th, 2021. I'm there. I'm there. I mean, you know what I mean? We're going to be there no matter what. We're going to be there with bells on. No matter what. It's the other big, gigantic audience that is arguably larger than us that they need to get in there. So, they're competing with the streaming services, folks. They're competing with the streaming services, and it sucks, but that's why. But I agree with what you're saying. Oh, God, I think I have duct cleaning calling me. Fuck off, duct cleaning. Jesus Christ. Don't you hate that? I should pick up. Hello, yes. Ducks? I have no ducks. Anyway, let me see here. If I read that, oh no, wait a minute. Where am I here? Did I miss that? No, Nathan. Joe, Joe, how do you say your last name? Smidgen? Phonetically spell it out for me in the chat. Thanks again, Tabitha. You're on fire lately. You're amazing. If we see a Judith Myers lookalike, then we know for sure they borrowed at least some of it. Yeah, that's true. Well, no, that's true. If anything like that, like I can tell you're not going to see that. I know that, but yeah, no, that'd be awful. I'd be like, and the crappy thing is, there's nothing I can do because it's not like I have any legal leg to stand on. Maybe a tweet would be nice from somebody. All right, we borrowed his shit. Let's see here. One second here. I want to see if I can bring up. Hang on, I want to see if I can bring up. Where is it? I don't know where it went. Oh, well. I was going to bring up the other poster and put them side by side, but I can't access. Anyway. Is it Fasci? I think that's Italian, right? Fasci Cinema? Fasci Cinema? It's Italian. I'm pretty sure it's Italian. Hopefully I'm saying that right, buddy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think Myers will be too like Jason in this? Well, do I think he'll be too like Jason in this? I don't know. Do I think he will be like Jason in this? Yes. But like I said last night on the show, it all depends on what they're balancing it out as. I said it before, I'll say it again. I enjoyed the trailer. I liked it. I thought they showed too much, 100%, but I like the energy of the trailer. I appreciated it for what it was. I found myself liking it more than I liked the 18 trailer. When that first came out. But again, like I said, I think it's just because I don't have any expectations, so everything I saw in the trailer is kind of what I expected. My issue is how much of the DNA of Michael Myers have they preserved, right? The integrity of the enigma, the boogeyman, the there, not there, the emerging from the darkness, that's still got to be there too. Okay, like if you want to up the kills, make it more brutal. Okay. Like, I get it, dude. I get it. We all get it. We understand it. But are you doing it at the expense of eliminating any nuance to Michael's character and Michael's approach? Michael's like a cat, right? He's a predator. He's like the wind. He stalks, he emerges from places. He's patient, Is this going to have suspense? Is this going to, like, what are we going to, now, again, I mean, it's like a 2-hour movie or a 90-minute movie or a 110-minute movie or whatever it is. I think it might be close to 2 hours. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But at the very least, 90 minutes, right? And we saw 2 minutes and 37 seconds of fast clips. There's a lot of stuff we haven't seen. I also know there's a lot of kills we haven't seen. I know this for a fact. There's also a gigantic flashback we haven't seen, which could be able to drum up some suspense, right? But I want to see, are they going to balance it out? It might feel funny. I've talked about this in the past, that it might feel kind of funny to me to have this kind of, Jason-esque character. It might feel like Jason's in the Michael Myers mask, like Jason's cosplaying as Michael. I mean, is that what we're going to run into? It's going to feel like this is Jason cosplaying as Michael Myers. It all depends on, do you still have the Halloween DNA? Do you still have the Michael Myers DNA? Is it nuanced? Is there suspense? Is there mood? Is there atmosphere? You can't just have payoff, payoff, payoff. You got to have, you got to have the buildup. What's the payoff without the buildup? Well, it's Friday the 13th. Not that any Friday the 13th movies don't have a little bit of suspense here and there, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, no, I agree with you. It is an area that I'm curious about for sure. For sure. Gary Rangel sends in $2. That violin score sounds so great. Yeah, violin. I think I said cello or something like that in last night's show. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's violins. I loved it. Now, whether that was actual violins, like an actual couple of people who are playing the violins, or whether it was electronically created, because you can have violin sounds now that are synthetically created, and it can sound legit. You know what I mean? So whether they actually had a couple of violinists, is that what they'd be called or whatever, in a studio going, that'd be cool. But I liked it. Yeah, it sounded great. I hope we hear more of that. I really want to hear more of that. That was one of my favorite things about the trailer, was that violin rendition of the Halloween theme. I really hope we hear more of that. Shout out to, whoever, did that, or whose idea it was, whether it was Carpenter, Daniel Davies, and what's the other guy's name? Forget his, Cody Carpenter. Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. Joshy Russell. Oh, wait a minute. Did, am I saying it right? It's Italian, my man. Fasci. Okay, Fasci. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. I was close. Joshy Russell sends in £9.99, I believe that is. Great seeing all the Halloween fans buzzing with this new trailer. Can only imagine the pick-me-up it must bring to a lot of people. Thanks for the shows, Dave, and all the insight you bring. Cheers. Thank you, Joshy. I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah, there's no doubt that there's a lot of people that were very excited about it. And most people are not like me, right? They're not picky like me. They don't care if a trailer leaks or whatever, right? But I care. As you guys know, I've been very vocal about it on social media and here on the channel. I do care about that stuff because it's just important to me. And it's just unfortunate that it leaked, because like I said, it was intended for next week, and it's unfortunate it leaked early. Well, I mean, maybe it's not for some. Maybe it is great, right? But I find it unfortunate because I was really looking forward to some kind of build-up next week from Ryan Turek or Jason Blum or somebody, where they were going to do like a little countdown or drop little hints or little, whatever, right? Because they've done that in the past, like I said at the beginning of the show today, right? Now, maybe they didn't have anything like that planned, maybe not. But it did feel very hollow. The release of the trailer felt very hollow in comparison to what we've got before, even with the Halloween Kills marketing. I mean, even last Halloween, Blum was tweeting out little things and hints and all that kind of stuff, which was fun. But there was nothing like that. It was very hollow and shallow. And that's because of the leaks. So, damn it. Now we got to get ahead of this. We got to regain control. We got to put it out. And that's what they did. And so, yeah, kind of sucks, but people are excited about it for sure. People are definitely excited about it. Ryan Farmentino again says, go see F9 to see HK trailer. Good bet or no? Well, it all depends, right? I mean, initially, I don't think the Halloween Kills trailer was going to be attached to F9. I mean, this is the information that I was getting. It was going to be attached to The Purge. But that can change. I mean, I've learned very recently, actually, from my source that, it doesn't take much for that to change. You can, because everything's digital now. So now if the theater chain, sometimes the big theater chains like AMC, Regal, Cineplex here in Canada have contracts with the studios that certain trailers must play with certain films, and you can't deviate from that. You have a contract. Now, some of the smaller independent mom and pop shops don't have that. They can play whatever fucking trailer they want in front of their films. But sometimes things can change too. So it's really just a matter of click and drag point, and sort of recalibrate the trailer for this other film. So it is entirely possible that you could go watch Fast 9 this weekend and see the Halloween Kills trailer. But remember, that doesn't mean that was the original intention. People who don't understand the business are going to think, yeah, you see, it was always going to be like that. No, not necessarily. Because it's not like they have to reorganize and, get out all the tools and start sawing and all these things just to put no, it's just a matter of going click, drag, point. It takes 5 seconds. And when I was talking to my source about this, they said, that, yeah, it's possible you may see that now, because why not take advantage of that, right? But you also may not. It's just, I feel sad for The Purge because Fast 9 doesn't need the help. The Purge needs the help. Although Fast 9 is, I hear, a dog shit film. So it is possible. I don't know. It might depend on the theater you go to. It might depend whether it's AMC or Regal or whether it's Cinemark, or I think that's what it's called, right? Or what, I don't know what contracts they have, but do know that some of the big players in the space will often have contracts with the studios of what trailer they can play with what film. And there's specific reasons for that. So unless that's been lifted now because of the circumstances, which is entirely possible, you might see it, or you may not. You may still, it may not be in front of F9. They may still just kind of keep it for The Purge, right? I don't really know. So if you see it, let me know. Amar Alagic, Amar, hi Amar, how are you? Thoughts on the Michael transcending line? Well, I talked about this on the show last night. I love it. It's one of my favorite lines in the movie. It's a very Dr. Loomis line. It's painting a picture. Again, I don't think the audience should necessarily take it literally, in the sense that, she's literally saying that he is, or, is actually transcending. And then by the end of Halloween Ends, he's going to be this literal supernatural being that's shooting lasers. And, it's what Dr. Loomis was doing. It's called, it's poetic language that you're trying, like when somebody doesn't understand something, you're giving analogies, right? You're painting a picture. Brackett was skeptical. Brackett didn't fucking get it. Brackett didn't believe Dr. Loomis. So Loomis had to stand there and say, I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left, no reason, no conscience, no understanding, even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Did he really have the devil's eyes? Well, no, he's painting a picture, right? I watched him for 15 years, sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, looking past the wall. It's the same, like, dude, I need you to fucking take me seriously here. And so you paint a picture, right? And that's what Laurie was doing. It was a very Dr. Loomis line. And, but the unknown factor must remain there. I hope they keep that unknown factor there. But I love the line, the more he kills, the more he transcends. That's great. And we should never know, as an audience, we should never know whether there's a literal interpretation of that or not. That's what makes Michael work. That's the ambiguity. That's the enigma. That's where he must remain, So we can have all this dialogue. Wow, what does that mean? And, all this kind of shit. But we never should ever find out the literal interpretation of that, if there is one, right? We should never know. We should never know. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyway, is that we should never know. But I love the line. I love the line. I just spat there. Jesus. Take a swig of water. Mouth is getting a little dry. So we should never know. In my opinion, we should never, ever know. But I love that line. Oh, Smyjohn. Okay, he sends in $5 to tell me. I appreciate that, dude. Thanks so much. You got the pronunciation correct the second time. Smyjohn. Very cool. All right, Joe Smyjohn Jr. My man, Joe Smyjohn Jr. I like that. Patrick Anderson sends in $4.99, says, keep rocking, Dave. Were you glad there wasn't a Loomis flashback? Reference snippet in the trailer. Happy Friday, everyone. I am glad, actually, because I think everything about the flashback should be experienced in the movie theater. I wish some of the kills we saw in the trailer could have been experienced in the movie theater. I think seeing that, and again, we understand why, right? We were just talking about that. But it would have been nice, you know. The one thing, and spoiler alert here, by the way, okay? I just want to give people, you know, spoiler alert here. All right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the trailer, I was very disappointed that they showed what looked like Marion Chambers hanging by the swing set. You know, I was disappointed that we saw that because you could have showed the smashing of the glass or her hair getting pulled, but you don't, like, you already show, I think they, for whatever reason, felt we needed to show all 3 of the silver shamrock masks, and you don't. You didn't need to. You showed the nurse and her husband dead. Okay, that's great. But then it's clearly Marion. You know, it's the same jacket. It's a woman. We can see her bosoms. I don't actually see her bosoms. Frank, where are you? Frank, you're rubbing off on me. I just said rubbing. He's going to take that and run with it. But I mean, you can tell she has breasts, right? And she's wearing the same t-shirt or the same shirt. And if I was a betting man, I'd say, yeah, Marion dies and she gets hung. That's cool. But that would have been nice to have revealed in the movie, right? Do you know what I mean? So it's little things like that I'm like, oh, that's too bad. Now, they didn't say it was Marion, but come on, look at the clothing she's wearing. Look at what Marion is wearing. Look at who's hanging who's hanging from the swing set. You know, so that's a little disappointing. You know, it's stuff like that, just little things like that. But I'm glad we didn't see anything about the flashback, because if the flashback is as involved as I know it to be potentially, there's a lot there. So I'm glad they didn't show it. That's something you want to experience in the theater for sure. You got to leave something. You got to leave something. Ray's Peace sends in $4.99 and says, keep doing your thing, Dave. Love the consistency. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. Schnip. I love that. I love that name. Schnip. Schnip. 9, and dude, if that's your name or your last name, I'm not making fun of it. I just think it's cool sounding. Okay, that's why I'm laughing, because it's cool sounding. I don't know if it's a nickname or if it actually is your name. I just want to let you know I'm not making fun of you. I actually think it's a cool sounding name. Schnip. I like it. US $9.99. Thank you, buddy. Says, I'm a rabid fan. Rabid. Somebody's going to take that and loop that in some GIF. I'm a rabid fan as much as the next guy. Is the next guy? Hey, are you rabid? Okay. Just want to make sure you were rabid too. I'm a rabid fan as much as the next guy, but it's really hard to feel bad for fans saying the trailer spoiled the movie. Spoiled for them when they dissect every frame of the trailer. Well, yeah, I don't know who's doing that. I mean, I certainly haven't said the film has, I don't feel spoiled. I certainly haven't said that. But I agree with you in the sense of, this is where I will agree. For those that don't want the movie spoiled, but don't have the willpower to refrain from looking at everything and watching everything, well, that's your own fucking problem, isn't it? You know, you're not paying for this. Nobody's forcing you to watch I'm glad you do, by the way. But nobody's forcing you to watch me or anybody else dissect the shit out of anything, right? So if anybody feels spoiled, then just, you know, and I understand in today's day and age, it's very difficult to stay off social media altogether, but you certainly don't have to click on the articles. You don't have to click on the thumbnails. You don't have to click on the videos, right? Those are 3 things you don't have to do. Nobody's forcing you to do that. Now, I know you enjoy watching me and whoever else. That's great. That's awesome, right? And I think that's amazing. A rising tide raises all ships, right? But if you are subjecting yourself, I'm not talking about you, Schnip, I'm just talking about in a general sense. If people are subjecting themselves to spoiler territory, well, I mean, you have no one to blame but yourself. You know, it's not like my video starts playing on its own in your head. No, you have to see the thumbnail, see the title, click on it and watch it, right? So, but I agree with what you're saying. If there are people out there that are complaining about spoilers, but then watching every frame of the trailer or dissecting it, well, yeah, they have no one to blame but themselves. Rad77 sends in $4.99 and says, Dave, do you think we'll get a Dr. Loomis lookalike or a silhouette or with voiceover flashback scene? You are going to get Dr. Loomis in this film. That's not a spoiler. That's kind of out there. But I'm not going to tell you how. I just hope it's nuanced. Let's just say that. I just hope it's nuanced. I hope it's not. I just hope it's nuanced. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, Dr. Loomis' presence will be in the film. Frank Morrissey. Is it Morrissey? Morrissey, maybe? Morrissey? Dave sends in $5. Thank you, buddy. He says, hey, Dave, I'm a little bummed to see Michael be so different from 78 Michael. It feels too different. You're not alone, my man. You're not alone. There are a lot of people that feel that way. There are a lot of people that do feel that way. So you're certainly not alone in that. Again, I think I enjoyed this trailer maybe more than some people expected I would, because I've reserved myself to expect what we got. So I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't overly excited. I just was like, oh yeah, this looks exactly what I expected to look like. This looks like it's going to be a fun time at the movies. This looks like I'm going to buy a bowl of fucking popcorn, which I never do. I usually buy candy. I'm going to buy a bowl, get a bag of popcorn. They start selling bowls now. That'd be cool. I'm going to get a big bag of fucking popcorn and some soda for my American friends. We say pop up here. I mean, really, it's just, we say the end of the word and you say the beginning of the word, right? Because the word is soda pop, right? Well, we call it pop. You call it soda. Well, it's the same fucking thing. I'm going to get a big jug of pop, maybe some Dr. Pepper or something, and fucking watch. Woo! Like when he's got that fucking. And maybe that's not the only kill he does with that. Maybe he takes up the things like. Is it my kind of Halloween? No, it's not. No, it's not. Of course not. Would I have done it that way? No. But I understand why it's being done this way. It's the second act. It's 2021. You want to make it it's Michael Myers. It's horror. It's slasher. I get it. And I can have fun with that kind of stuff. But I have to reserve, I have to get in my head. It's like, okay, it's not this anymore. It's this. Okay, cool. It's not wrong. It's just different creative choices. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes, right? I just hope there is mood and atmosphere in this movie. Now, the film looks moody. That's different than mood and atmosphere, okay? You can have a film that looks moody or a shot or a scene that looks like it's got some mood to it, but we don't know the context yet, right? We're just watching the trailer. So we don't know the context of how it plays out. Is there suspense? Is there lead up? Like I said, I didn't hate the 2018 film. I didn't hate it at all, but it was a film that was, in my opinion, largely void of any sort of real mood or suspense. So I'm really hoping that they tap into that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I mean, you're not alone, dude. You're not alone. There are a lot of people that are, bummed about it. And then there are some that aren't. There's some that aren't. Schnip sends in $9.99, says, got that nickname from my dad. That's cool. My dad used to call me Scrap Iron because I was a little fireball when I was, 5 or 6, right? That's cool. He called me that randomly one day as a kid. Just a made up word he said one day and it stuck. He's called me that for about 25 years. That's amazing. My real name is Phil Lynch. Phil Lynch. Lynch, I think that's Lynch, right? Phil Lynch, Lynch. Could be line. No. Sorry, guys. It's the voice actor in me. I naturally see things. I'm like, yeah, Phil Lynch is how I'd say that. That's cool. That's cool. Well, hello, Phil. Nice to meet you, Phil. Welcome. You're always welcome here, my man. Well, I mean, everybody's always welcome until they're not, I guess. Schnip. I like it, though. I like the word schnip. Sounds like it's like, can you imagine that's like the name of a horror character? This fall, Schnip. Oh, my God. Schnip is back. Be awesome. What do we got here? Mr. Bibby 86 sends in $5 I believe that is, says, do you think JLC, Jamie Lee Curtis, will retire after Halloween ends? Start her career with Halloween and ends with Halloween? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think she has a reason to retire. If she did, I'd be very surprised by that. No, if anything, I think these films are going to continue to keep her in the pop culture consciousness. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis has never been, I mean, she's an A-list star for all intents and purposes, but she's never been a leading lady per se, right? She's usually been in films where she's part of a larger ensemble. She's never really been like a lead. I mean, you could look at Freaky Friday, I guess, a little bit, but she's never, she's usually, and I'm not throwing shade at her. I'm just looking at her filmography and going, oh yeah, that doesn't mean there isn't a film here or there, but we're talking like in the big picture, right? And she wasn't doing too much, little things here or there. But I've noticed she's been popping up a bit more because of this resurgence of Halloween. So if anything, I think she's just going to ride it. She's just going to leverage it, and hopefully she'll get other roles in between and after. So I don't think she's going to retire. Why would she? No, I don't think so. Good question though. Okay, I thought maybe Ryan Farmentino sends in $4.99, says, coming from someone that lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, Halloween Kills location, the soda pop thing is so true. Oh, it is. Yeah, well, I mean, the it's called soda pop, right? I mean, that's what it is. And the Americans, most of you are American. Obviously it's a thing, right? You come to Canada, we call it pop. It's like, pop, what's pop? It's like, well, it's soda pop. Like we'll call, well, actually that's not true. And we also call it by names too, right? Like, I mean, we'll say 7-Up, Dr. Pepper, Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, whatever. Like, we do say the names as well. But yeah, if we were to refer to soda pop here in Canada just by its name, we just call it pop. We wouldn't say soda. No, we wouldn't say soda. And if I hear somebody say soda, I'm like, oh, I bet you they're American. So if you hear anybody in the States saying pop, I'll just get a pop. Pop? What kind of pop? Coke, Pepsi? You know what I mean? Then chances are they're probably Canadian. And you're right. It's so true. Jamie Lee Curtis was a leading lady next to Arnold in True Lies. Yep, absolutely. 100%. Yep. No, she was. That was a great role for her, right? Again, I'm not saying that she hasn't done that. We're looking at the bigger picture of her filmography, right? Generally speaking, she's either playing opposite somebody or she's part of a large ensemble piece, right? No, that's, I mean, True Lies is arguably her most perfect example of what you're talking about there. That really is kind of the best example of that, and one of the pinnacles of her career, to be in a movie directed by James Cameron opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in both of their primes. So that is arguably, that's a big thing for her. That was a big moment for her. I've always wanted to see a True Lies 2. David Coe sends in $4.99 and says, are we possibly due for another hate mail episode since you now have egg on your face? Congrats on the 1K viewers yesterday. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate that. Yeah, what David is talking about is that I have had several, maybe half a dozen messages from people who have reached out and said, see, you were wrong about the release of the trailer. And, I was right. And I knew it was coming this week. And now you have egg on your face. And there's apparently people throwing subtle shade my way. Listen, I understand and I sincerely mean this. I do understand when somebody talks about sources and all that kind of jazz and why it can be sort of a roll the eyes kind of thing, because the vast majority of people either are not connected or don't work in the business, or whatever the case is, they're just people talking Halloween. I understand why a lot of people would roll their eyes, but I've always said I would like to believe that I've earned your respect and I've earned your trust, and that I want to put this to bed, which is why I made the social media post about it. But the information that was given to me was from somebody in a position that would know this information. I've since talked to them too. And it's because of the leaks, and again, it's somebody in a high level position that would know this. So that's why I was confident to run with it. And they knew I was going to, and they were fine with that. But please understand that this happens all the time. This isn't the first time that a studio has a date for a trailer to be released, and then it gets leaked, and they have to release it early. They release it early because they need to gain that control back. That's unfortunately what's happened. And I say unfortunately because it would have been great to have that extra week of buildup, right? That excitement. Maybe you're somebody that doesn't care, and that's fine. But that is what happened. So if anybody wants to say, oh, Dave was wrong, listen, if you predicted that the trailer was going to drop this week, you look pretty good right now, right? You look really good. But in order for there to be real validity to your prediction, you would have also had to have predicted it would have been because of a leak. You know what I mean? You would have had to have gone out on a limb and been like, I think the trailer is going to come out this week because it's going to be leaked beforehand and they're going to drop it early. Well, then you'd look really fucking good. You know what I mean? 100%. You would have been right all around. But to just simply say that I think the trailer is going to come out this week because of Fast 9, and now it has, there's a bit of an asterisk. I mean, that's not correct. And I understand, because I can't tell you who the source is, show you the receipts that I've seen, you got to take my word for it. I understand that. I get that. And you don't have to. But that was, I've seen the evidence that was the plan. I mean, even the manager that released the leaked footage or the leaked images said, go see The Purge next week. Even the moron movie theater manager who released the images said that. You know what I mean? That was the intention. But look what happened. It's unfortunate. So yeah, no, I've received some messages from people saying, "Oh, you got egg on your face." Now, whatever. Okay, you want some? You want some? No, it doesn't. What bothers me is it doesn't bother me when I get messages like that. It bothers me when people don't. And again, I understand, but it bothers me that people don't really think about things and really kind of. I mean, it was released with no fanfare. It's not a coincidence that it was released on the same day there were leaks, people. I mean, and it was just released without any fanfare. And there's a reason for that. That's what happens. We've seen it happen with Marvel. We've seen it happen with other films, and it's a pain. It's a pain. It's too bad. It's too bad. It's too bad. So yeah, but thank you for the compliment, and I appreciate you saying that. Michael Rojas sends in $4.99 and says, scenes from the Halloween Kills trailer reminds me of My Bloody Valentine. The pickaxe Michael uses gives off a Harry Warden vibe. I'd have to see My Bloody Valentine again. I haven't seen it in quite a while. Oh, I missed another one from Craig. Did I miss another one from Craig? The fuck's going on with me? I did. Craig, I'm so sorry, my man. What's going on? Craig Phillips sends in $5. Says, I'll get back to yours in just a second, man. Sends in $5. Says, hey, Dave, do you think Michael killed the 3 kids who were wearing those masks to get them? Oh. Ooh. Very astute, Craig. Very astute of you. Maybe. I could totally see that being not the case, and it's just a display. Michael likes to display his victims. We know this from the first movie. From 18, but also from 1978. So it could just there could be no backstory to it. It could just be an Easter egg, a nod to that. Again, just another nod. But dude, that's maybe. Can you imagine? If there's a scene where like you walk into the park or something and there's those 3 kids hanging. Oh, no, dude, that's like, whoa, kids hanging? I don't think that would get past the MPAA. I really don't. Or actually, I think it's just known as the MPA now. I think they dropped the second A, if I'm not mistaken. Dude, that's yeah, I like where you're going with that. Okay, Michael, yes, sorry. Scenes from the Halloween Kills trailer reminds me of My Bloody Valentine. Right. I haven't watched My Bloody Valentine in quite a while. I haven't, and I never saw the remake. The original, of course, is a Canadian horror film. But I haven't seen it. I've seen the original, but I haven't seen it in a long time. So I'd have to kind of watch it again. But that's That's cool. That's interesting. Nick Mundell sends in $5. $5 Canadian. Nick, you must be here in the Great White North. That's cool. Says, hey, Dave, after the spoilery Kills trailer, all I could think about was how well done the new Candyman trailer was. Your thoughts on that trailer? I love the Candyman trailer, dude. I did. I thought it was really well done. And again, another slickly made, skillfully edited trailer. And with Candyman, but to be fair, I like the first Candyman from years ago. Wasn't crazy on Farewell to the Flesh. I think there might have been even another one after that. And I haven't seen Candyman in years, like decades, probably since the late 90s, maybe even since college. So I'm watching it kind of maybe with a bit of naivety or a bit of, not naivety, but a bit of like pureness, you know, like I forget a lot of shit. So when I watch it, I'm not as analytical or as critical as I would be with Halloween Kills because it's Halloween. I know all about it. I know what I'm looking for. With Candyman, I'm taking it more at face value, I think. Maybe if I had really been up on the first Candyman, like I had just watched it and really knew all about it, then I'd be looking at it through maybe a bit of a different lens. Do you know what I mean? But I liked the trailer and it felt big and a lot, but I still felt like there was more to discover. And folks, knowing what I know about Halloween Kills, please understand that there is a lot we still haven't seen in Halloween Kills. We did see a lot, but there's a lot we still haven't seen. Please understand that too. That's cool stuff. Where are we here? Okay, 15 minutes left in the show. Joe Smyjohn Jr. sends in $5 and says, hey, have you been watching the Loki series and your opinion on it so far if you have? No, I don't watch, for those of you that might be new, I don't watch a lot of quote unquote television. I'm not a superhero guy. I'm not a DC Marvel guy. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. I am the last person you want to come to get insight and thoughts on, I mean, like in a deep dive sense. I know who Loki is, but I don't know anything about the character, the history, the mythology. Like I literally know nothing. It would be like me saying to you, hey, Joe, have you seen the new show, Cat Work? You'd be like, Cat Work? What? No, same. Like, what? I mean, maybe it's not quite like that because I do know what you're talking about, but I've never watched an episode. I have no interest in watching an episode. I'm not a big superhero guy. And when I say that, I don't mean I don't like superhero movies. I just didn't grow up with it. Like I didn't grow up reading the comics or watching the cartoons. I just wasn't into it. I appreciate and will always watch a Batman movie or a Spider-Man movie or a Superman movie because, you know, those are like the staples. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always down for watching that. But I never, like I've still, this is going to shock most of you probably that don't know this. I've only seen 3 Marvel movies from the MCU. And that doesn't mean that I don't think they'd be good. It's like for those of you that are watching that are not Star Wars fans, right? That are not Star Wars fans. Oh, am I still on here? Yeah, I'm still on. Okay. And you don't care about it. You're not saying that if you actually sat down, you wouldn't enjoy it, but you don't care about it. You haven't seen the movies. You don't care. That's like me with Marvel and DC. I just don't care. I just, I see it. It looks cool, but I just haven't watched it. So, and I know it's not part of the MCU, but I do really like the 2 Deadpool movies. I did watch those, but that's because Ryan Reynolds is fucking hilarious and Canadian. So no, dude, I'm sorry that I can't give you any more info, but I haven't seen it. But I do know what you're talking about, though. I do know what you're talking about. Robert Kitzmiller says, just watch the Candyman trailer. Is it me or does it seem like a social justice theme? Cops killing blacks, blacks summon Candyman to enact revenge. Well, I don't know. I'd have to watch the trailer again. We know Jordan Peele is attached to this as a producer, I believe, and we know that he is very, he's very political. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not, you can probably expect a somewhat political subtext to most everything he puts out because he's in a position of power where he has an opportunity to do that and influence and make a difference. So he's going to do it, and he's black, So, I mean, I have no issues for those of you that may not know, I have no issues with telling a story with a message. No issues, whether it's about race or gender or whatever, right? I have no issues with that. But I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to be preached to in a condescending, pretentious manner. Don't make a political message with a movie attached to it. Make a movie with maybe a political message attached to it. I'm okay with that, right? As long as it's subtext or it's there, it's part of the narrative, it feels organic, it feels important, you know what I mean? But we do know there are some movies out there, Black Christmas 2019, that isn't, that is a political message with a movie attached to it, right? And, it feels pretentious, condescending, preachy. Nobody likes that, and like I said, it's not just men. I know a lot of women that didn't like Black Christmas 19 either. There were a lot of women that did. There were a lot of men that did. It's true. But certainly it's polarizing because of that. Subtext is better, nuance is better because you tap into the subconscious of your viewers. You can affect people psychologically, subconsciously, which is always far more effective than hammering them over the head. I'm telling you. So I have no issues. Like I think when you are in a position where you can tell good stories with important messages and themes and get your message out there, if it's something you believe in, God damn it, you should be allowed to do it. And I support it 100%. But I just wish we'd be more, I think with this climate we're in now, and I understand it, I think people are sort of pushing nuance to the side and really kind of being more overt about it, more like, hey, this is what, you know what I mean? And some people love it. Some people do. I'm sure if you are a political activist that is very passionate about that kind of thing, you would probably love it. You know what I mean? If you are somebody that is, a Trump supporter, if I say, or who knows, or a very far right leaning, fuck that, you probably don't like that. You know what I mean? Those are the two extremes I'm talking about, right? There's definitely there's a whole spectrum there, and there's, many different kinds of people that appreciate and like many different kinds of things. But I'm okay with it as long as it tells a good story and it doesn't feel preachy or condescending. That's all I care about. Because the story comes first. And if you can weave a good story that has a message like that, well, that's cool. But if you're sometimes there are stuff that feels like, this feels kind of and like I said, it's not just me as a white man saying this. I know people of color who don't like this kind of shit too, right? So there are people of color that love it, appreciate it, right? Can get behind it. But, again, there are people that don't either, that like, I don't need to be told this. I don't need to be, like, I'm okay, whatever the case is, right? So I didn't get that from the trailer though. But I'll have to I've only watched it once, so I'll have to watch it again and look for that. I think I was just kind of enamored with everything that was going on, and maybe I wasn't paying attention as much as I should to the story of the trailer. So let me watch again. I'll watch again. But yeah. Real Reveal, my man Real Theo, haven't seen you in a while, says, Dave, any update on It's Me Billy Perks? Also, film reaches 23K. I think it's at 24,000 now. Yeah, thank you to everybody out there, of course, who's watched It's Me Billy. We're at 24,000 views right now, which is great. Update on the perks. Yes. Well, Bruce, again, please understand that this is a process. Bruce and I, we don't have 500 hands. We are doing this ourselves. We have ordered all the t-shirts for everybody. So the t-shirts have been ordered and they are being shipped from our vendor. They're being shipped to me because I like to open the box and make sure that all the t-shirts were printed correctly. The last thing I want is to just send you a t-shirt from the vendor and then you get it and there's something wrong. You know what I mean? So I have it shipped to me and then we package it and ship it off to you. So all the t-shirts have been ordered. We're waiting for our vendor to get the hoodies in. They ran out of hoodies. So we're waiting for a restock on those. We're about to order toques as well, and then posters, and then it's a process. And then, of course, we've got to work on the Blu-rays and stuff. We really appreciate your patience. We really do. Please understand, we haven't forgotten about you. We love you guys. We haven't forgotten about you. We're working a lot behind the scenes to try and get these things out there. But I can say, all you who've ordered t-shirts or get a t-shirt because you picked up a perk, they've been ordered. Just to let you know, they've been ordered, but they have to come to me first, and I have to make sure everything's okay. And then we got to get packages and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like you're going to get it next week. This is a process, but I just want to let you know that they have been ordered. Woo! They've been ordered. So it's a step in the right direction. But yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that about the film, man. And I think it's at 24,000 now. And for those, there is an ad too that we're running on YouTube for the film as well. Maybe you've seen it. Joe Smy John Jr. sends in another $5 and says, any new updates on Dylan's new nightmare? I haven't seen any new posts in months. Yes, actually, Cecil is running a campaign right now, which ends, I think, in maybe another week or so. He was running another campaign, Indiegogo campaign, to sort of try and raise a bit of extra money that he was unable to raise the first time around. And no concrete dates yet. I know Cecil and Vince had talked about maybe this fall. That is always a possibility. I'm totally down for that if the fucking borders can open up and I can actually get down there. So we'll see. It's just COVID's just thrown a wrench in everything. And I understand that. Like, shout out to Cecil and everybody too. Like, they've been so good and so patient, because really at the end of the day, I think this movie hasn't been shot because of me, because I'm in Canada. I mean, there's a number of other factors too. It doesn't all fall on me. But I appreciate the love and support that they have too. I really want to do it, but I got to protect myself as well. I have to protect my own health. I have to be cautious, and they have to be cautious, and the border has to open up, and I have to fly there. So I got to think about travel, and it would be easier if I was in the States, obviously, but I'm not. So there's a lot of logistical insurance and all that. There's a lot of logistical stuff that needs to be taken into consideration. The provinces are beginning to open up now here in Canada, but the border still remains closed until I think the mid-July or something like that. And then they'll reevaluate again. And it's like, ugh. And then who knows what sort of restrictions are there's going to be, and who's going to be able to travel and all that kind of stuff. So it's a process, and I if I haven't said it before, I will say it now to Cecil and to Vince and to Miko and to Nora and to Renee and to everybody that is part of the team, and those I haven't met yet. I appreciate your patience. I know it's not my fault, and it doesn't all fall on me. There's a lot of reasons why the film was delayed. It wasn't just because of me, but I know I'm the only foreigner, so I feel kind of like, geez, and. Yeah, so, but fingers are crossed, man. Fingers are crossed. But head to Indiegogo and type in Dylan's new nightmare, and if you want, you can support the new campaign that's up. All right, we got about 5 more minutes left in the show here today. Southpaw82 sends in $5, says, hey, Dave, do you think Carpenter has any say on how James Courtney is portraying Michael? None. The way he moves seems to be very close to Nick Castle. I don't think he has any. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's probably, I know in Halloween 18, now, I mean, what I mean by that is if Carpenter wanted to say something, do I think he could? Sure. Yeah, I think he could. Do I think he has? No, I don't think he has. Maybe he has, maybe. But we do know from Halloween 18 that James Jude Courtney and Christopher Nelson were working very close side by side. Chris, if I could say Chris, he was directing James a lot because, when you're in the mask and you're under dimly lit light or high key light or whatever, you can't really see what's going on. And you don't have an objective view of how you're standing or whatever. So Christopher Nelson, who's a big Halloween fan, a big original Halloween fan, would often kind of point James in the right direction in terms of his stance or, the nuances of his performance, right? I would imagine that continued on the set of Halloween Kills. I would imagine it would continue on the set of Halloween Ends. But do I think Carpenter was directing Nick from behind this or James? No, James, walk more like this. Walk more. No, I don't think so at all. I think he was hardly on set. He would have visited the set, or maybe not. Maybe he didn't visit the set. I know he visited the set of the first film, but whether he visited the set this time, I don't know. Who knows? Frank Riker sends in $5, says, for the sexy trailer viewing motherfuckers in the chat. That's right, Frank. Thank you so much for sending that in and saying that. David Coe sends in $3.99 and says, do you wear that jacket when you go out? It's awesome. Oh, this jacket here. No, I have. I think I wore it once to the grocery store or something, I think. But I'm very I don't wear it out very much at all. And the primary reason for that is because it's a jacket that you only, I mean, obviously I wouldn't wear it out now. We're in the middle of the summer and it's really hot here. What is it here today, actually? It's only, it's 78 degrees here. So it's not that hot here at the moment. But I mean, summer in Toronto, summer in Canada, in most parts of the country, especially when you get to July and August, you know, sometimes there are days that were hotter than fucking Nevada. That's not common, but I'm just saying, like, we can have heat waves here that, you know, we get into like the hundreds, right? So it's definitely not a jacket that I would wear here at this time of year, unless it was like rainy and cool out. It's more of a fall. It's definitely not a winter jacket. It's more of a fall jacket. So, which that makes sense. Halloween, fall. And I have worn it in the fall. I did wear it in my, there's a couple of videos on my channel where I'm like, a friendship destroyed over Halloween or something like that. I think I'm wearing it in that video. I've worn it out like once or twice, but I don't want it to get ruined, right? But it's cool though. Got the 78 there, and then on the back, I think this is from Fright Rags, right? Is it Fright Rags? It's definitely for John Carpenter's Halloween. That's cool. Yep, Fright Rags. You get that on the back. I don't know if you guys, oh, my microphone there. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's cool. That's cool. And I got it's a medium. Yeah, it's a medium. I thought I got a large. I am a medium, actually. If anybody wants to get me, if anybody is ever thinking of sending me like a t-shirt or something, I am a medium, but always send me a large. And the reason why I say that is because even though I plan to never do it, my t-shirts always end up in the dryer because I forget or I'm in a rush or something. And especially if it's 100% cotton, it'll shrink. And if I have a large, it might be a little big on me, but if it ends up shrinking, then it kind of shrinks to a medium. So then it fits. And then of course, when you put it in the dryer again, it's not going to continue to shrink. So it sounded like fucking Seth Rogen there. But yeah, if anybody's ever thinking of sending me a shirt, always send me a large so that when I make the fucking mistake eventually of throwing it in the dryer, it only shrinks to a medium and not a small, because then the shirt won't fit me. And the jacket, obviously I'm not washing the jacket. I thought I got a large in the jacket, but no, it makes sense that I got a medium though. It makes sense because obviously I'm not putting that in the dryer. Very cool. And then the last super chat of the day, Collector's Digest sends in $4.99. Thank you, buddy. He says, I've grown to appreciate and respect you so much when I used to disagree with you. Well, that's cool. I hope Kills is great, but Michael must remain mysterious. It's so important. No explanations needed. He's the boogeyman. Well, that's cool, man. You know, we don't always have to agree, folks. We don't always have to agree. What fun would the world be if we all agreed? I mean, that's insane, right? We don't always have to agree. It's not that we disagree, it's how we disagree, right? You know, when I say, like, listen, I'm a theatrical person, right? I'm an actor. I'm a performer at the end of the day, right? I mean, that is my job. And, you know, and I come from that kind of a family anyway. That's just my natural personality. But, you know, yes, I can be very theatrical and blunt, and this is dog shit, and that's bullshit, and what a fucking piece of shit, whatever, right? And I say those things about the things that people love. But just know that I'm being theatrical to make a point. I'm being blunt. I'm being animated, right? It's just who I am. But if you love, like sincerely love a lot of the things that I don't, celebrate that. I mean, that's amazing, right? It's not that we disagree, it's how we disagree. We can disagree with each other in an adult manner. Okay. I mean, I'm 42 years old, for God's sakes. I have no interest in getting into any sort of drama with anybody. I mean, I left that, you know, back in high school 25 years ago. You know, I have no interest in getting into that kind of thing. So it's not that we disagree, it's how we disagree with each other, right? And so that's cool. I think that's cool, man. And I really appreciate you saying that. I really appreciate you saying that. All right, folks, listen, that is going to do it for me here on episode 183 of Mcrae Live. Thank you to my amazing moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Shore, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber for doing what you guys do. You know, I love you guys. You guys, and Tabitha was working overtime last night on the show where we had nearly 1,100 viewers. Tabitha, you are amazing. But that doesn't surprise me. She's a super mom, you know, and sometimes it takes super moms to get in there and fucking start fucking doing shit and fucking stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's all because she's a mother. I'm convinced of it. And thank you to all the super chat questions that came in today, of course. Again, I apologize for not being able to get to some of the non-super chat questions. It's never personal, of course, but obviously, as we know, super chats take priority for obvious reasons. But you guys are amazing. You know you are. Comment below and let me know what you think of the poster. Comment below and let me know what you think of the movie. If you're watching after the fact, I would love to know what you thought of the poster specifically as well, and how you feel about it, and what you see in the poster and all that kind of jazz. So I will be back. There is a Saturday movie night tomorrow night for my patrons, or for my level 2 and 3 patrons. So you have to be part of my level number 2 and 3 Patreon for that. But then it will wind up on my channel probably around 9:30 or something like that for everybody to see. There is that. And then who knows? I mean, I could always be back on a whim if something happens. But if not, Monday night, 7 o'clock p.m., Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Folks, have a great rest of your Friday and have a great weekend. Alrighty. In the meantime and in between time, I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.